Welcome back to the Ramblings of the Designer. We are a weekly podcast. We talk about the latest in graphic design news around the web. My name is Terry, and I'm one of the co-hosts. I'm a UX UI designer from the Bay Area who helps bridge the gap between products and their end users. I'm here with Adam, who helps run the podcast. So Adam, take it away.
Hey, my name's Adan Zepeda. I'm a freelance designer from the San Francisco Bay Area. I specialize in visual UI design with a little bit of illustration. I like to give companies character.
All right, company's character. I still like that line, and I still need to come up with the line. So maybe making that happen this year, right?
Yeah, let's make that a New Year's resolution.
Yeah, exactly. So it is officially day 2 in 2019. So Adam, how was your week off or your vacation time?
Yeah, I always tell people that giving me vacation is always a bad idea because it just gives me a little taste of not working on what I'm missing. I'm like, oh, I could do nothing all day, huh? And then you want me to go back and go to work, huh? And so personally, I don't like taking the time off. So keep me busy is always the best for me. But yeah, I literally did not do anything. Although my vacation was split up a little bit since as a contractor, I don't get any pay time off, so I had to work as many days as possible. So how it was split up, I guess I worked the first 2 days of Christmas. Like I didn't work Monday and Tuesday for that week, and then for New Year's I didn't work that Monday and Tuesday for that week too. So I had a couple days off, two 4-day weekends. I also took an extra day off the Wednesday after Christmas, so that I absolutely did nothing. Actually, I did do some client work, but yeah, I mean, Christmas, it was a good time off, but it's kind of I'm having to
You're rolling your eyes.
Yeah, I have to wrap myself back up again to get motivated. I've been doing it pretty well, so I've been kind of back to my routine, but yeah, I just I don't know. Ask me about it next week. What about you?
You're still on pause.
Yeah.
You're still on pause.
How's your Christmas vacation?
God, a lot of things actually kind of happen. I do have to apologize to everybody. I'm getting over a cold or bronchitis or whatever you want to call it. But it's so if I do cough, I do apologize. Christmas was good. New Year's was good. I went to Texas to go visit my parents. So that was very nice. And we just ended up playing this dice games called 5,000 with dice and quarters. So that was a lot of fun. And also too, I learned how to cook. The basics. I'm not a Betty Crocker, nor I attempt to be a chef in a kitchen. So that was very interesting. And then Christmas was a lot of fun, you know, playing games, taking naps, staying up late, playing cards. So it was a lot of fun. But on our way back, flying home, we left Texas on December 31st. And we landed in Dallas. And we were stuck on the runway for about 20 minutes. We were late. Again, American Airlines, don't fly with them. American Airlines, don't fly with them. And they kept us there for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes. The reason why we were on the runway because they didn't have a gate open for us. I mean, they run planes like every day with other planes coming in. So why would they not have an open gate? So anyways, of course, I was in the back and there was other families that had to get to their connection. And by the time we got off of the plane, number one, of course, we didn't make it. So that was horrible, number two. So instead of flying in San Jose, we had to fly into San Francisco. Therefore, they didn't have our car seat. They didn't have our luggage.
Oh my god.
So we had to take an Uber, and one thing is for certain, at least American Airlines, they do let you have loaners just for car seats for children. So that was good. But still, don't fly with them. It was my first time to actually fly with American Airlines. I will never, ever, 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 ever fly with them again. I mean, it was so like torture. I actually wrote an article about it that really made me believe of when I took the service design course from IDEO this past October. I even tweeted that out to American Airlines that basically they should go and take that course, because the whole experience was just, I mean, that would probably be my biggest gripe for the whole year. So we ended up taking an Uber ride home, spending it with our New Year's Eve with a Uber driver. The guy was really, really nice. So as we just went down Highway 101 out of San Francisco, it was kind of neat. And there was all these like firecrackers, like psh, psh, psh. And we're like, Happy New Year in an Uber driver car. So that was kind of funny, but it was just, I mean, just with having kids and they're tired, and just you ask for help and they tell you one thing and they mean another, and it just, the whole experience was like, oh my God, I would not wish this experience on any of my users. And when I start to think like, oh my God, if I design a product, are they going to be like this? Is this going to be their experience? Oh God, how awful. So that just made me just like really think about my own process and about my own, really, to ask those questions to make sure that whatever I build or whatever I design, it's not going to be that same experience that I had. It was hellish. Oh my God. Again, American Airlines, don't play with them. Oh, it was just bad. But anyway, we finally got our car seat and we finally got our luggage today.
Really?
Yes, today.
How did they do it? Did they like send it to you, or did you have to go and pick it up?
No, actually, we got a call last night at 8:00 saying, oh, we have your luggage. I'm going to call you between 1:00 and 2:00 in the morning to drop it off. We're like, we'll be sleeping. It was just bad. It was just, but anyways, so that was my little excursion coming home, but everybody's safe. Everybody sounds safe, getting over colds and stuff, but yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the holidays are notorious for traveling, for things to go wrong, especially flying. Flying always seems to just be terrible these days. Why is that?
I mean, like, I would think they would have an updated ticket system when you check in. Oh yeah, and get this. We go onto another plane, right? We have 4 separate seats. It's like we have like little ones. It's like they can't sit by themselves. It's like, hello, and they just, I don't know. It's just random, just randomist issues.
Yeah, I noticed. I don't know if it was American Airlines that I used, but when we were trying to go to Seattle, the tickets we got were relatively cheap if we didn't pick our own seats. But if we did, that was $100 more. And I'm like, and I don't care if I don't sit with anybody I'm with, but we had our kid with us, and so it's like, well, he has to sit at least with somebody.
I know he can't sit with a stranger.
Yeah. And more for that stranger's benefit, because my kid will just like bug the heck out of him
I
for the whole
know.
ride.
Hey, 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 tap, tap,
Yeah.
tap.
What does this button do? Who are you? What are you doing?
What time
For
is it?
hours. Yeah.
I'm bored. I'm bored. Okay, well, anyway, enough about that. Let's move on. I'm going to wish everybody welcome back into 2019. And yeah, it's going to be a really exciting year. I think a lot of stuff is going to be happening. I really think illustration, again, is going to be a comeback, and how to do your presentations, how to tell a story, how to talk, um, communication. I think those are going to be the really big keys in this upcoming 2019. How about you? So, what do you think? You still
Upcoming.
Do you still feel the same way in the last podcast, or do you think it kind of changed a little bit?
I don't even remember what I said. I said illustration would be a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I said I wanted to see how Adobe XD will do,
Yeah,
because
that's true.
it's going to be free. So I wonder if that's going to be, when I said that it's going to be like a big deal, I'm more playing in the long run, because like if you're going to a design school, like college or something, they're going to say, hey, use XD because it's a free thing. And so I could I see it maybe from now, so maybe we won't feel the effects this year, but maybe the year after or so, or maybe by the end of the year, it'll be like, oh yeah, we're using XD now. We're using XD, especially now since it has integration with voice. With nobody else, no other software that I've seen has that yet, and
Yeah,
so
that's true.
maybe that's like something that'll draw people in more. And so I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see how
All right.
XD does.
All right. So I was going to say gripe of the week, but I think we covered that already. So
You've griped for the both of us.
yes, I think I did. So, excuse me. So we will continue on. So, Adam, do you have any articles for 2019 episode? Oh, 29. I was going to say episode 1, but not really.
Yeah, it's 2019 week 1, if you want to
Week
do
1.
that.
Yeah, maybe not. But anyways, continue.
Before I start, just the headline. So I guess if any of you all are users of lynda.com, they're finally gonna phase it out. Since LinkedIn purchased it, they've been having on LinkedIn, they've been having their kind of resource. They've been calling it like LinkedIn Learning, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're finally just gonna do away with Lynda and transition to LinkedIn Learning. So just a heads up,
Oh,
you'll see
all those
that.
employees. That
No,
stinks.
I mean, I don't
Are
know
they
if
going
they're
to keep
gonna.
them, or are they going to keep like all the classes what they have, or how is that going to work?
I don't know how they're gonna do with branding, because everything is gonna say Linda on it, unless they're gonna have a bunch of contractors to come in and edit out all that part, the
They probably
beginnings and
could.
ends. They
Yeah.
could, yeah. I mean, because every logo, I mean, a majority of these screens have their logo
Yeah, the
on
Linda
it as
logo.
well. So
That's crazy because Linda's been around for such a long time, but now it's stuff phases in and phases out. So,
yeah, LinkedIn
yeah.
Learning, that's gonna be interesting. I guess you're
Anyway.
forced to have a LinkedIn account as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're following the Google model where they they force you to sign up with everything.
Yep.
And but I guess I know that's gonna be weird. I mean, they'll probably have some sort of like legacy section,
Yeah,
because
maybe.
if you think about it, like a lot of these, they're gonna have to make new videos anyways, because there's constantly new software. So maybe from now they're like moving forward, everything's gonna be this, and everything in the past. I mean, what do you need to learn about, Photoshop CS6? It's like, do you really need to learn it?
Yeah, no, it's out, phase out.
Yeah. I mean, they're like they're doing the Apple model, where it's like, oh, after this, we're gonna phase. You
Yeah.
can no longer use an iPhone 3 because it'll be obsolete. So you're no longer gonna be able to access or need anything
Anything.
from 2017 and beyond, or before. So yeah. But anyways, so my first. I dropped the mic.
Hey,
I'm
you
a
get so
very
excited.
I'm a very expressive talker. I talk with my hands, and so I flail around everywhere and go bam, bam, bam. So if there was flies nearby, they'd feel my wrath.
You've got to be like the kindest person in the whole wide world. I don't think you can hurt a fly. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
So for my first thing, my first article is more a product. So last week or this past Christmas holiday vacation, there's been a lot of talk about remove.bg. And so what remove.bg is a simple website where you upload any photo that you want that has a picture of somebody, or a group, and it'll remove the backgrounds for you in an instant. Well, it takes about 5 seconds or so. And you'll have just a quick and easy cropped or quick and easy image with a transparent background. And I did it a few tests. It actually does a really good job. So as far as like taking away the background for hair is notoriously hard in any sort of background removal process. People with curly hair is notoriously difficult to do. And this does a really good job. It's impressive. It's impressive at what it can do and at the speed that it can do it in. It's not perfect, and it does have its issues. For example, like if the background has to be pretty similar to it has to be pretty obvious that there's a background and foreground situation. The great thing is that it can recognize images really well. Like you don't have to tell it who the people are, or if there's people there, it automatically recognizes like if it's one person or a group of people, and it'll remove the background for it instantaneously. Like it knows that pretty well. And one of the biggest cons though is that it shoots it out at a really low res. So I don't know why it does this. Let's say you have I don't know, 1920 by 1080 image. It'll shoot it out at like a quarter of that size. And so that's the one biggest setback to this, is that it doesn't really shoot it out at the size that you give it. But if you go in knowing that, maybe you could go and edit your image to compensate for it, like enlarge it, knowing that it'll crop it down, and maybe it'll come at the right size you need it to. So maybe that could be a hack or workaround. And the only other thing too is that it's not perfect, right? So I would say if removing backgrounds from an image is not your forte and you've always struggled with it, then sure, use this. If you already know how to do it and you're kind of savvy with it, I wouldn't recommend it, because it'll just give you a ping with the transparent background. And if you need to do any retouching to it, you're kind of left with whatever they give you. Whereas if you're doing it by yourself, you're not really deleting any pixels. You're masking everything out. And so you can go back and forth if you need to. This one, it's completely destructive. So there's no getting back that background. Maybe what you can do is put it on top of your existing image, in a Photoshop, and then kind of work some way between having those two images. But it's just more work.
But there's a workaround though, like you said, there's always a hack or something. But
yeah,
something is better than nothing. But I had a question. How much?
It's free.
Ooh, free.
That's free 99 without the 99. So yeah, completely free. That's why I was recommending it. So you can go and try it out. It's pretty easy. It'll shoot out your the image for you pretty quickly, and you're on your way. Yeah. So I would say, like, if you only have 5 seconds and you need to remove the background from an image, this does it in 5 seconds. So bam, for free,
done.
You got it going. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And if it's imperfect, just like Adam says, just superimpose it.
Yeah. Yeah. Use both. Use the original image and then use this image and kind of work your way to find something in the middle.
That's probably a lot faster than you just doing it yourself.
It is. Yeah. And
It
so
is.
what I would do too is for me, I like to kind of like recommend this to like my non-designer team. And so, like the sales team, the marketing team, they always could use tools. And if you could kind of give this that it's a simple, easy, one-click shop, they're like, "Oh my God, you're so great. Thank you so much." And so that's my tip for you to pay it forward to your non-designer friends, and they'll love you for it.
Yeah, they go, oh, you're so smart.
Yeah.
Yay. You know everything. The magic game ball.
And so, yeah, that's what I got. Terry, what about you?
That's cool. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Well, again, we're talking about 2019. So it says my mind inventory. It's top UI trends to get your app ready for 2019. And this was actually written in November 2018, but it was just very interesting how the author just keeps on saying about adopt the self-explanation illustration, about the opacity, flawless design interface, using overlapping impacts wisely, the full screen background picture. So he just keeps going into and I think you talked about this too, Adam, in the last podcast about using the oh my God, I can't talk. Bleh. Using the functional animation. And what he has in here is a really cool example of of a map where you want to go, and basically if you slide right or left, it will show you which way to go. So I thought that was kind of really awesome about that. And there's actually a little example in there. And he just keeps on continuing of just give examples of everything. And I thought it was a really good read and give you a little bit of tips of what's going to be coming into 2019. So what do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to do top UI trends, he literally picked every trend because he has a very extensive list of
Yeah.
every single thing. Like, I guess he took a pretty good inventory of what's been going on. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing for some of them. So, full screen background in your pictures. I have been seeing. Well, I haven't been seeing a lot of this stuff that what he's mentioned, but that's only because I've really only stuck to the main like top apps. I haven't really been downloading any kind of any different apps out there. Just I've only been sticking to like the big, what is it, like the big 10, your Facebooks and Instagrams and
Top 10
any Google
mainstream.
products. Yeah, just the mainstream. So maybe that'll be a good thing for me is to go and explore
Branch
more
out.
apps. For the listeners out there, do you have any apps that are not the mainstream ones that you recommend? Because I want to check some out. I want to see, maybe we could even like just kind of review how it is and how it works and what it does good and what it needs improvement on, because I don't see that many and I want to get back into it. I actually wonder if how apps are doing in general, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like there's not, I don't know, like I kind of feel like there's not too many s- for any, like, how do I explain it? I kind of wonder if apps are kind of lowering down a little bit more for just web apps. I wish I could see the statistics on it, just because I kind of feel like everything is already being
Done.
yeah, everything's already being done, so it's kind of hard to do something new, and even harder to get users to try these things. Like, hey, this is like Spotify, but it's a little different. Try this. I'm like, well, I have Spotify. What do okay. It's really hard to get users to adopt a new app. And so how is the market? I mean, games there's always going to be a bunch of games, because games I think is one of the biggest ones. But where do we find out the statistics for every other app?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good point. But
Oh, well.
I just think it's like if you're using an app and what are the pain points, and you just improve on that app on a feature. I think features are going to be a big thing.
It'll be interesting because he mentions UI without buttons, and that's kind of something that I want to see more. Like, how does gesture play into our lives? Now that we've done the swipe left, swipe right of Tinder, I have noticed that, like, well, they've always had that, I guess. Like on just using your email, you could swipe to delete it, to get rid of it now.
Mm-hmm.
And you could, if you do like a swipe, it'll give you the option to delete it. But if you swipe hard, fast, then it just deletes it for you. Yeah. And
It
so I
just
want to see
goes.
that. Yeah, I want to see that incorporated more.
Yeah, and it will be, I think. I think it will.
Yeah.
So, what do you have?
Let's see. So, speaking of 2019 and what to learn, there's this article on Creative Block that was called 10 Skills Graphic Designers Need to Get Ahead in 2019. And where your article had, 20 to 50 of the UI trends, this one was just 10. And a lot of it is kind of, I don't know. I mean, the list is if you want to learn graphic design, learn these things, because it's pretty much the top 10 is everything of graphic design. So one, it talks about learn typography, right?
Yeah, that's very important,
And
I think.
yeah, I think no matter if you're a UX designer or
It doesn't matter.
UI
Type
designer,
is
graphic
key.
designer,
Copy is key.
typography is, I would say, the top thing that you would need, especially since we have all these minimal layouts, or this minimal design trend. The typography is what leads everything, and so we definitely need to get on that. And so the more you know about typography and the more you know about how to play with it, well, I know it's harder in web design, but now that we have variable fonts kind of kicking up and everybody's starting to use that, now they talk about responsive type. Maybe that'll help us open up with getting all this new, just more impressive ways we can use design with these new type trends that's coming up. The second one says is software skills. So getting up on that software that you've never tried. I know for me, I need to use Figma more. Try that out, and I'm going to be doing more projects that relate to software I've never used, because I need to get into the practice of using all these different softwares, just to get more practice in it. Image editing. I definitely believe image editing should be one of your top skills as well. Being able to fit that image to fit in your design layout, being able to remove that one element that doesn't work. Let's say you have a great picture, but it has a competing logo in it, or they want it without certain elements, or you want it to relate to your client's branding, and so being able to change the colors in that shirt that person's wearing to match your branding colors. Image editing is super important. I definitely feel like I've been using that a lot lately, that I have been having to edit things like crazy, and so that's a top skill I think we need to have. Number 4 is photography. That's something for me personally I want to get better at too. Just the idea I like of not having to go out and look for stock images for what I need. If I'm like, oh, if I could just have this meeting of these two, or this picture of these two people shaking hands in this cafe. Oh, you know what? Why don't I just get, John and Joe and Jane to come to the cafe with me. Let's take some few product shots real quick, and then there you go. It saved us, $50, saved us a couple $100 in licensing, and we could use it anywhere. Maybe bill that to the client ourselves. Then we get the profits from that, Whereas instead of charging them for something you had to go buy, you give them this. You know what? There's no licensing issues. You own that. They own that photograph that they paid for. Bam. Now you have now you've solved your client's problem.
Issue.
And yeah. Number 5 is learning UX design. I definitely think it's super important. It's just the biggest trend right now is UX design. It's never been bigger, I believe, and it's only going to expand and be more complex and then segment into its different facets of
Mhm.
whatever it's doing, like tentacles of a squid. And so just knowing what the UXers are doing um, is going to help immensely because you're going to have to work with them one way or another. Number 6 is coding. Yeah, I mean, just I would say just enough to be able to communicate with developers. I mean, so what I was gonna say too is I would really recommend picking and choosing because you can't learn all of this stuff, especially in 1 year, 2019. I would say, you know, either sharpen your skills of where you're at or where you're trying to go, and let that be your driving force. This list gives you pretty much everything, but there's no way you could study UX coding and design in a way that you'll
Master it.
yeah, you'll master. You'll have, little bits of each. Whereas, do you want 2% of 5 things, or do you want 50% of a
Two
few things?
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so pick and choose your battles. The list goes on. I'll say one more is AI, AR, and VR. I definitely feel like, I feel like that's the future. I don't know in what capacity. If it's going to be using AR, VR on your phone, on your mobile device, I feel like that's going to be a big trend. I see it a lot in different places. It's just how do we incorporate design? So how do we incorporate um, audio into AR, VR? Because I think that's going to be big. And then how can we visualize um, indications of where you want your viewer to see? And so I think that's going to be something we need to focus on.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
what do you
agree.
feel? How do you feel about learning all these different skills? I mean, I would say I'll just, without going into detail, go into the last ones. 8 is print design, 9 is problem solving, and 10 is expansive thinking. I mean,
Yeah, I just did it before. There's just so much to learn, but I think the cornerstone of everything is when you see something or when you read something, typography should be number one.
mhm,
And once you understand typography and excuse me, the space, the grid, if you're using 12 column, 8 column, 4 column, whatever it is, the grid, and you know how to uh, place your typography in a way that it looks nice in design. It doesn't look too big, too small, or a little off. And then from there, will be understanding UX and part of design itself. And then after that, I think the coding slash AR and VR and voice will take a kicker in. And and base around those 3 main functions, I think that's where you'll learn about photography, and when you learn about your expansive thinking, and then that's where you learn about problem solving a little
mhm.
bit. So it's kind of like pieces like Swiss cheese, right? If you see like the big pillars, like pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3, and then all those areas you just mentioned, and it's pouring in, it'll just all pour around it. One way to
Yeah.
look at it.
For me, typography is going to be a big focus this year, and UX is definitely going to be a big focus this year. Um, as far as like printing, because I mentioned printing, I don't know. I kind of feel like just like printing something every 6 months, I think will suffice. Like doing a holiday card for Christmas would be good. Printing like a calendar, or like just something that's practical for you, but something also that could be used to be printed. So like a brochure, for example, but like, I would say more like a booklet. So if you do a booklet of your portfolio pieces, arrange that into a nice 6-page book. and then printing that out and seeing how it comes out, and every time doing it with different finishes and different paper qualities and stuff, and different printers as well. See if they come out the same results. And it's just something to practice with. Even like a
Yeah.
calendar, doing a calendar for fun seems like an easy project that you could get printed at different places and see how they do. And then that way, when it comes time to actually print something, you have these things already ready,
Mhm.
that with the practice. Yeah, that's what I got for this one.
I have one more. It's called Draw Your Problem. Your hand, a pen, and some paper are your greatest problem solving tools. And this was written on January 2nd from Katie Mercury. And she goes into how to solve a problem and how do you draw your problem. And then she goes into different solutions like a nested bubble diagram or prioritizing your customers. And she goes into different examples and a workshop agenda and just different ways, the traveling itinerary, and just every problem that you can think of. How can you work it out using paper and pen and visually thinking out your problem? So I thought it was kind of cool. It was a little different because as designers, we're either sketching on our sketchbooks or we're sketching on a whiteboard or paper or on our tablets. So I thought it was just kind of interesting, giving you a little quick tips. So what do you think, Adam?
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. Although what she's doing is more like sketching out different components or different types of charts and things. Where I would say I would want to expand on this more and kind of. I like what they're doing with bullet journaling. Do you know what bullet journaling is?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much where, like, every time you want to, let's say, take a note about a specific topic, let's say cooking, where think about it as if you're creating an infographic for it. And I like thinking that way better. So, like, let's say I did want to come up with um, for another resolution I have. I'm full of them, spreading them out for some reason. In this whole podcast is that I wanted to cook more as well. And so what I did is I got out my bullet journal. Well, I don't have a bullet journal, but it's sort of like it. And instead of just writing down what I wanted, I drew it out. And so, for example, I'm gonna make tacos this weekend, and so I drew out all the ingredients. So I need tortillas, and I need chicken, and I need blah blah blah. And so having that practice into seeing things in a nice way and seeing how things fit together, and I think that's a really more interesting way to kind of get your visual mind or your visual juices going.
Mm-hmm.
Cooking juices, see, it all relates. And so yeah, I mean, I would recommend doing something more like that, and so that way, and it'll help you, especially when you're like thinking about logo designs. A lot of logo designers,
Mm.
what they do is like they'll break up the words in a logo into what their simple illustrations, and then they'll try to smash it together, and so it'll be like a combination, so like a heart and a crown, and so they'll mix a heart and a crown together, like a heart wearing a crown or something. And so if you get practice, if you practice drawing those little components out, you start to get their simpler, more icon representations of them, and it'll help you with your visual communication a lot better.
And not only that, but you can practice and get better doing illustration too.
Yeah, it's all illustration should be your 2019 focus. I know it's
Yes,
definitely mine.
I know it's
I
mine too, or at least
I've been
trying to.
I've been drawing so much too these past couple weeks, so I'm really excited to see how that progresses.
Oh, that's great. I I'm this close of getting a new iPad, but we'll
Oh
see.
yeah, Oh,
We'll see.
are
I'm
you gonna
still,
get the pencil with it?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if I should just draw a sketchbook, just go old school, or iPad. I don't know. It's a lot
do both.
cheaper.
Do both.
We'll
No
see.
matter where you get. I would say I always have an iPad Mini and a journal, or one of those moleskin um,
Yeah.
books. I always have those in my backpack. So depending on what I have, if my battery's running out, I'll go to the journal. If not, then the one thing I like about the iPad is the editability. You can always go back, you can move stuff around, you could change colors on the fly. In the book it's a lot less. I
It's
need
permanent.
to need to get all my markers out, and it's like, ugh, don't drop them. And or I need to get I need to have my little water reservoir for my watercolors. If it's gonna take forever. It's just a lot of hassle. And so depending on the situation,
So
personally
iPad Mini.
I like the iPad. Well, I like the iPad Mini for me. I don't know. You might need. You can't use the pencil on the iPad Mini, so
Oh,
um,
well, that's kind of,
yeah, it's pointless.
yeah.
I
There
like
is
it
that.
because it's small, and I get to. I feel like it's a good size where I could read books on it, and it's not, like I can't read on the regular iPad. It's kind of big and heavy, and so if I'm on the BART or something, I don't really feel
Yeah.
comfortable having a big old thing out. So the iPad Mini is kind of like the little in between that I feel,
Okay.
because then the phone's also too small. So it depends on your situation. For me, I needed something portable that I could hide away and like in and out with no problems. So I use that, and I use the regular stylus that you found. Actually, I think I have a stylus that you gave me, that I use that, and so it's kind of like a heavy one. I forgot what it
Mm.
is. It's in my backpack.
Oh, I know.
Um,
Yeah, I know which one it was.
yeah, and so I use that to this day. That's my go-to
Oh, that's
stylus.
cool.
Yeah, thank you so
All
much.
right. No, you're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, that's all my piece on that subject.
Okay. Adam, do you have any more?
I feel like we're relating so much with these articles because, speaking about drawing, if you want a quick and easy way to draw, um, there is Canvas from Google. So Google came out with an app, a desktop or a browser, a web app, where you could um, draw in your browser. So if you go to canvas.apps.chrome, they give you a very, very, very simple interface to draw. It'll give you a button that says new drawings. And then just like if you've tried Adobe Sketch or a lot of these simple apps, drawing apps, what it does is it gives you just a series of different tools. So you have a pencil, a pen, a marker, and I believe this is charcoal. And you really only have the ability to change the size and its opacity and the color, and then that's it. There's no like line weights or anything. But if you could do a quick sketch on there, and you can export it, and it'll export your drawing as a ping. And then you'll just go to your homepage, and then you'll have just these different cards of your whole the different drawings you've done. So I use Adobe Sketch for currently as my drawing app, and it works. It looks very similar to that. So just very stripped down, gray, black and white version of that. I used to use Sketchbook by Autodesk, but I forgot why I stopped using it. I believe I stopped using it because you had the ability to export your files as a PSD, and Sketchbook, they took away that functionality. I don't know why they did that. So now I can't. I want something that I can sketch and then finish off in Photoshop later. But it does, since Sketchbook took that away, I haven't really been using that. I've been using Adobe Sketch. So I don't know, whichever app works for you. If you need a quick something to draw, it's going to be super hard if you don't have a tablet, if you don't have a some sort of drawing device, like a tablet of some sort. But I want to do a test to see if you can open it on your iPad and then see if you can draw on that. But yeah, I would recommend that.
No, that's
Terry,
cool.
Mm.
No, I'm playing with it now, and it's hard to draw anything on your pad, on your touchpad. It's like I'm not sure what the hell I'm doing, but it looks like a deflated balloon pancake can face.
Whoa.
No, actually, it's really simple. It's actually really really nice if you just want to just practice just sketching. And the best part, it's free.
Yeah, 2019's year free. If you know me, I love free. And so I would
Yeah,
definitely try to give you the freest options available
yeah.
because I am cheap.
The only thing I wish they had to add here is they have like the charcoal and stuff, right? It'd be kind of nice if they had like of a blending tool.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, if it had a blending tool, it's like, well, crap. That's all you would really need.
And it does have um
Some opacity and stuff to it.
yeah. So you could sort of blend that way. You just start really light and then just do a couple passes.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
usually what I do. Yeah. And I know like a lot of these that and again that's why I've been really adamant to trying drawing on the tablet more because I want to overcome limitations, and drawing on an iPad it's notoriously been pretty difficult because you don't get all the tools, you don't get all the blending features. It does have some, but it doesn't have everything, and so some of the things I like to do is like some things it doesn't have is like just good transform features. So like if I drew a head and a body, and the head is just too big or too small, it's like so tedious to edit that size. Like what I would have to do is duplicate that layer that I had the drawing on, erase the body, and go back to the other layer and erase the head, and then now I have it on two separate parts. So then I could transform and change the size of the head. But it's just such a long workaround where if I had like the ability to marquee out just the head and be able to transform that, like these simple little things that I wish I had. I wonder if how big of a file size the original Photoshop was, and if we
Yeah,
could fit that onto an iPad,
maybe.
'Cause, I mean, it wasn't. It had some terrible features, like you couldn't do changes. All the changes that you did were kind of permanent, and so like you couldn't edit it, or like let's say for example, if you wanted to if you wanted to add text in the original Photoshop, it would give you a dialog box to type, and then it would put it on your layout and be permanent. Like you couldn't edit that text. It had things like that. So I
Hmm.
mean, maybe if they had the next version up from that, see how big of a file size that was. But I don't know. But yeah, that's canvas.apps.chrome. I tried pulling it up on my phone. I can't really get it to work on there. But also I don't like to update my phone, so it's probably not.
Oh, wow.
Maybe if you have the most updated version of Apple with the latest and greatest, maybe it'll work for you, but it didn't
Yeah,
for me.
maybe.
So Terry, what do you got?
I have one more, and it's from Prototyper, and the article is called "The Most Important Rule in UX: Design That Everyone Breaks." And this is by Jeff Davidson. This is a little older article back in 2017, but he just gives you an exercise of how to do it and stuff, and it was kind of interesting. I went through it as well. I didn't, you know, I didn't remember a whole lot of stuff, but the majority, I think I got 8 of them. But
Oh wow.
um, yeah, but it was just interesting. Um, he talks about the Miller's Law, the magic number, how we look at something and what can we remember. Perceptions, perceptions are like chunks, because in our memories we always hold some some memory. of something, of what we saw in a movie or like the conversation or anything like that. So I thought it was just kind of very interesting on this whole like UX UI stuff. Like, he gives a really good example of like, you have directions, right? And then you have all of these directions. Nothing is organized. It's this whole long list. For some on the right side, it's like 1, you do this, 2, you do this, 3, because you break it up in chunks and you can understand it a lot better. So, and this goes in the same thing as we design anything, right? Because you want the user to understand and not have too much information, because that load would be way too much for them. So, like I said, read it. I think it's really interesting, and it is still information is still honest today that we keep on going as well. And then also, if you go to jeffdavisondesign.com, on there, you can also get free design lessons on his site. So I thought that was kind of cool too.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, free is good. So definitely check him out. So what do you think?
I definitely did not know about Miller's Law, and so
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do like the idea that our short-term memory can really only handle 7 things at a time. I am not going to take the test because I notoriously have a bad memory, especially I don't know, short-term or long-term, and so I don't want to scare myself and be like, "Oh, I only got 4," So I'd rather not take it and not know. But I heard like a great way to memorize things better is to have a visual representation of whatever that word is, and then have a visual spot in your head where you can put it.
Yeah.
So, like for example, I have like a screen. Like if I'm pretend I have like a virtual AR environment that only I can see in my head. I saw one of the word was arrow. That's easily drawn arrow. I want to put it in the upper right corner of my invisible mind screen. Bam. So now I'll always remember the arrow because it's always right there and it looks like an arrow. I would say like think of it as like an inventory list in a video game or something, and then you create that, and then you could just go, oh yeah, right, arrow. I think also too, if you put it in alphabetical order as best as you can, then you have a better way to know what's next. I'm like, okay, so I should be around C. Okay, now I should be around F. Fire. Okay, fire is another one. Bam, picture of an icon of a fire. But yeah, so I don't know. I definitely like the idea. I'm gonna use that more. I did realize the idea of chunking things into small bits, but I never knew that like 7 plus or minus 2 was kind of the magic number. So I was probably doing like groups of 10 or more or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely knew that a need of chunking was there, and so I would do that a lot, especially like breaking down long paragraphs into different columns. But now that I know, now I'll be more aware to try to keep it around 7, especially like but also trying to figure out like where this would apply. So I'm thinking definitely breaking down long paragraphs is always great to chunk it into different interesting ways. Maybe like agendas or like different steps to keep it down to 7 and help people memorize the steps better. Instructional pieces. So now I know, keep that around 7.
Yeah, that's cool.
7-ish.
Yeah, I think ouch. Just hit myself with the wire. Good. Real good. When it's late and you're tired and you're not feeling good, you start, hitting yourself in the face with everything.
I dropped my mic earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's it for me. How about you, Adam? Any more?
Yeah, I think that's it for me. Let's call it let's get back to let's come back at it next year or next week. I think what it is for me is that like like it's like riding a bike again, but like mine is in a short term. Or like all the parts are a little rusty because it's cold outside, so I need to like get
I
it
know,
back
like
up and wrap.
freezing.
Like you haven't been to the gym in 2 weeks, and then you go back after those 2 weeks, and then that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, where it's like,
As my mom would say, everything's gonna be just okay. You'll be fine.
thank you. I believe so too.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, happy New Year and day 2, January, and then next week, I will. Actually, next week I will be starting my web development course.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
starts.
countdown. Yeah, January 7th is the first day I'll be starting. So you might hear a gripe about that. Maybe we'll see. Woo-doo, woo-doo, woo-doo. All right, aloha, everybody. And Adam, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at Adan Zepeda. That's AdanZepeda. And you can find me on Instagram at adanz.designs. Also, if you want to leave us a comment, please talk to us. Find us on the internet. If you don't want to talk to us on social media, we have our Gmail where it's ramblingsofadesignerpod at gmail.com. Send us a message, send us some comments, send us links, send us your design, and we'll showcase it on the show.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, Terry, what about you? Where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter. My handle name is Floxenink. It's FLAXENINK. And that's it. I'm on Twitter and LinkedIn. Sorry, no Instagram, no the other stuff. Got 2 socials. That's it.
Keeping it
simple.
Keeping yourself off the grid. Yeah, keeping it simple.
Simple. All right, everybody. Aloha and bye.
Bye.